Cue Dave and Ryan in 3, 2, 1.
It's Dave and Ryan's movie review.
Sponsored by the Plan Z Diet.
All right, Dave and Ryan here for another redemption. Now, this is a movie that, well, it's a Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Shocker. Dave's going to talk about a Marvel movie. This is a movie that I think I've pinpointed why it got so much hate. And we'll talk about that. I am speaking, of course, of 2021's The Eternals. This one had a 2-hour, 36-minute runtime.
Which is way too long.
Rated PG-13. It stars Gemma Chan, Richard Madden, Angelina Jolie was in this one.
Yeah, she was the crazy one.
She was the crazy one. Selma Hayek, I forgot completely that she was in this. That's how long it's been since I've seen this movie.
She died early on.
She did, but she was in and out of the movie, I guess I should say. And I think that, quite honestly, that was another reason. And Kit Harington. Got to have Kit Harington for those in the know.
Yeah, he wasn't in it that much.
He wasn't either. Brian Tyree Henry was in this one. But I think the main thing, one of the things that I found annoying to me when I was watching it, and if it's a Marvel movie and I'm going to say something was annoying, you know I was really looking. Yeah. The time jumps and the way it jumped around so much from this time to that time. I realize you have a story to tell, and the Eternals are immortal, so their timeline goes so far. You know, but I really didn't care for that, the fact that it jumped as much as it did. And 1 minute you're in Babylon, and the next minute you're here, and then you're here, and then you're here. And it's trying to explain the story of all of these characters. And that's, I think, where it may have kind of made people, uneasy, or maybe people got annoyed with the movie.
Yeah.
I don't know if that...
For me, it was... I just didn't like the chemistry between the characters.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, I know each character has their own, personality and everything. But, they've been together for millions of years. But the chemistry was just kind of meh.
Yeah, well, especially with the chemistry between Richard Madden that played Icarus and Gemma Chan.
Yeah.
They were supposed to be in love throughout the centuries.
Yeah, and then he just disappears. And then the one that plays Sprite, the one,
yeah,
she's just a catty, jealous person.
Well, and the problem with that, and you start to understand that, though, and she has that conversation in the movie where why was she not allowed to grow older or grow up into an adult? I mean, she's the body of a child, but she's hundreds of centuries old. Mm-hmm. So she was just stuck as a child for her whole life. As you said, Angelina Jolie goes a little crazy.
Yeah, she had mind sickness.
Yep, and then the one gentleman says he's going to stay with her.
I liked his character.
I liked him too. I really did. I was sad to see him go in the end of the movie. The movie's 4 years old. I'm not dropping spoilers here. I'm not warning you about it. But he was a lot of fun in the movie, and Cersei was Gemma Chan. And, Lost, really, in the movie, kind of started out to be like he was going to be the villain you thought. But Barry Keoghan is in this.
I'm trying to remember.
And Barry Keoghan played, I know you're wondering, Druig.
Which one is Druig?
He was the one that, at the beginning of the movie, was like, yeah, she's been lying to us the whole time.
Okay.
And Barry Keoghan was kind of lost in this movie a little bit. I will say, for me, one of the main takeaways from this movie...
He was kind of a dick in this movie.
He was, but he had a redemption at the end. So, but Icarus is Icarus. But for me, one of the things that kind of jumped out as, wow, this, yes, you can say that it was a terrible movie.
It was a horrible movie.
People can say that all they want, but it still has a very important place in the MCU timeline because...
Well, it took so long. It's just in the last Captain America one where they actually acknowledge it.
Yes, but that's not what I'm even talking about. I'm talking about in the movie itself. I'm talking about the post-credit scene in the movie.
Oh, yeah. They just totally...
It might be the only time we don't, and we don't even get to see him. It might be the only time we hear Blade on screen in the MCU. So you've got all this going on. I think that a lot of it was played into the fact that in the mid-credit scene, Patton Oswalt comes out, and I really didn't care much for Patton Oswalt in this because it was just really quick.
His character was a gummy bear.
He was a gummy bear. He was a gummy bear dwarf. But Pip was his name. Yeah. But then the main takeaway from that also was, for all the teenage girls, Harry Styles was in this, and they thought that this was going to be a great takeoff for him as Eros, as Thanos' brother.
So wrong.
Very true. But he is an Eternal as well. So, if we ever, who knows, if we ever hear anything more from the Eternals, he'll probably be in the movie somewhere. So, I have a hard time being mean to this movie because it's like one of my kids. It's a Marvel movie, and I can't be rude to it. But I will give this one 2.5 buckets of popcorn because it's a good movie. I agree with you. It's a tad bit too long. I don't care for the time jumps, and some of the chemistry among the characters just doesn't work for me. But I can see where they were just trying to add another story to the Marvel Universe. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So for me, I think there was a few wasted characters in this one.
Okay.
Obviously, the Thanos' brother and Pip, obviously one because we haven't heard anything about him since. But another wasted character was the main villain in this one.
Yeah.
The detergent? Is that what they're called?
And that was
the one that could suck out their powers.
Yeah, and that was actually played by Bill Skarsgård, believe it or not.
Yeah. He was such a good character, and he was just wasted on this. Honestly, I think they could have done a better job with him. Could have made another movie with him. That's kind of the bad thing about the Marvel movies is, you get these good characters, and some of them are wasted on horrible side movies.
Well, and the thing about that too is he was honestly. He was deviant. That was what it was.
Deviant.
He was honestly on their side.
Yeah, because he was basically one of them. He was the first Eternal. His kind was one of the first. They were sent out to make sure the intelligent life on planets would thrive. But then they evolved,
right?
And then they started just killing them.
Well, and I think too the other part of it is Arishem, which was the one that was guiding the Eternals the whole time, turns out was basically a celestial Thanos.
Yeah.
Because he cared nothing about destroying a planet. Once it reached, and the way the planet got destroyed is once it reached a certain population, then the Eternal could be born and the planet would be destroyed.
Yeah, they planted an eternal seed in planets, and
right.
They would be born, and then they would make other galaxies and universes.
Yeah. So it's a lot to follow, too.
Yeah, and I always thought those big giant celestials, they always looked weird with the 6 eyes. You don't see a whole lot of them. We did see 2 of them in Love and Thunder when they went to Olympus or whatever.
Right.
But they really don't do anything.
They don't. So once again, like I said, I didn't care for the way it jumped around. The chemistry between the characters just wasn't good. And it really just is out there. There's nothing, maybe that's the other part of it too, is aside from the stories about why they had to do what they did because of the snap, then they brought everybody back, so that meant the world was going to be destroyed. Yeah. Other than that, it's it was meant to be like a standalone project. Maybe they just don't play well with others. Maybe Deadpool should go hang out with the Eternals. And they could have fun killing each other over and over and over again. So, but like I said, I'm going to have to give it 2.5 buckets.
Yeah, I'm going to give this one bucket because, a lot of wasted stars. Even Kip's character, he was supposed to be the Black Knight or whatever.
Oh, Kit Harington, yeah, Black Knight. And that's when like I said, that's at the end of the movie. We hear Mahershala Ali on screen as Blade. That might be all we get. We don't know. So until then, until Blade comes out in theaters, go see another movie.